Friday edition of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Jesse Montano joined by JJ Jerez once again. We're starting to make a habit out of this, and I absolutely love it, JJ.
Yeah, it was so nice the last time. We did it so nice, we had to do it again.
Oh, wow. All right.
Gotcha.
All right. I was so excited for the rhyme there. Yeah, JJ and I are back at it here on a Friday, just kind of enjoying ourselves. It's a little hot out, 91. You know me, I'm all about it, but
I'm all about it too, especially in the summertime. I know you can relate to me here. The feeling of being in this hot weather and then going to your men's league games or showing up to a rink, just the best air conditioner on the planet. There's no feeling like it. Summertime at the rink.
Yes, no, 100%. And we were actually even talking about this when we were in Tampa. When you weren't playing and just sitting in a cold hockey rink all day, it was really nice to walk out at night, be nice and warm. You're like wrapped in a little blanket. Same kind of thing, but just reverse. Same, but different, if you will.
Life's about balance is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, it's a balancing act.
We're here for the existential podcast. We'll talk about hockey later.
That'll be on tomorrow's show, Monday's show. This is all just life. No, but dude, we are you are going to take over kind of driving the bus again here, and you got a nice little rundown put together. But basically, we've just gotten into this weird dead of the off season where nothing's really happening, and no one really knows what direction to go next. Like literally all week on our shows, I'm sure you've dealt the same thing on your shows where it's like, well, what do we talk about?
Right. You look back to the free agency day and there's a lot of hype around it. We even had a show together then. That was the last time I joined you guys.
Yep.
And we were all expecting big news to drop. And then it was just crickets. And a tumbleweed blew across. And just sitting there fiddling your thumbs, right? So, yeah, I guess what do you think goes into all this free agent bore? I mean, it was maybe it's us, just our perspective, waiting for that Nazem Kadri big news to drop that we kind of feel like, hey, this was kind of a snooze. But
like nothing's happening.
Yeah, I guess what do you feel was the reason it was so underwhelming this year?
I don't know if this was the reason, but for me, I think what a lot of factored into it, man, was the number of RFAs that didn't get QOs. And I think a lot of that goes back to the salary cap not really moving much. But I think the market just kind of got flooded with a bunch of plan B, cheaper guys that you think can fill in well enough while you kind of wait for this cap to go up. And I really do. I think players like Nazem Kadri, not just Nazem Kadri, but I just don't really think the market shook out the way that they thought it would. I think GMs had options available to them that they didn't think they would 48, 72 hours before the market officially opened. And I think it just kind of changed the way that things looked a little bit. And it just kind of created some unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a ton of players out available, right? I think that's really what's causing this big question. It must be that they're just waiting for dominoes to fall. And it has to be the Nazem Kadri situation, right? I mean, it feels like there's a handful of teams saying, let's see if we can make room for Naz. If not, then we'll look at these other guys, other maybe possible plan Bs. But there's still good names out there. Phil Kessel, John Klingberg. So that being said, of those names, let's look at a few that, let's say Naz walks. No trades happen. We'll get into some possible trades later in the show.
Yeah.
What could some maybe, good free agents that are still out there be a good fit here in Colorado?
Well, honestly, and this isn't an answer to your question at all.
Nice.
But Nino Niederreiter was the one that I was really looking at. He was another one that I was surprised went as long as he did without being signed. And then the deal that he did end up signing, that was a guy who I really did look at for the Avs and saying, hey, look, maybe not even waiting for Nazem Kadri to get done. Do you maybe just bypass that and go look at a guy like a Nino Niederreiter? I think they've got some flexibility with Mikko Rantanen potentially being able to slide to that center spot on the second line if you need him to. Gabe Landeskog, you get some spot duty there. I'll be honest with you, man.
Well, not to mention the plethora of centers that they already have, right? They pretty much, and that's been their MO the last 5-6 years. Let's just get a ton of centers, make them play the wing until we, maybe need to roll them in and out of center. See Ben Myers, for example. I think that's definitely the plan behind him, right? Alex Newhook last year. No, Logan O'Connor had to eventually work his way back to the middle slot. So they love just acquiring centers, so they have a ton of flexibility in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, look, you are still looking at a guy like Alex Newhook that, I think people read a little bit too much into his usage in the playoffs, or lack of usage, however you want to put that. Thinking that, oh, well, the Avs obviously don't have any big time plans for this kid. I think a lot of people forgot this was his rookie year. He played in the playoffs last season against St. Louis, and I believe he got injured, and that's why he didn't finish the playoffs. Scored a goal, looked really good. And so I think people kind of forgot he's 21, first year in the league, going on a Stanley Cup run. You just can't expect them to be plugging that guy in at 2C once you're getting into these later rounds. And like, you can't stick Alex Newhook with the matchup against Draisaitl, against Kucherov and stuff like that, that deep into the postseason. But I do still think that's a guy that they are looking at as potentially a long-term 2C option. But to finally circle back around and answer your question, I think there's two guys for me that are still out there UFA-wise that are viable options, and that's Paul Stastny and Sonny Milano.
Sonny Milano was a name that definitely stood out to me as well, and he's pretty cheap, right? He was just on a just over $1 million deal last year, so you can get him. And again, back to the flexibility at center spot, right? You throw in the name Mikko Rantanen, and you have so much plug and play that you're not confined to replacing Kadri with a center. Right. You can explore the market at the wing spot, at the center spot, and really just take your best fit. And I think that's an advantage that Joe Sakic, or I guess Chris McFarland now really has. And yes, we'll see how it plays out, but I think they're just waiting to see how Nas shakes out. Then we'll attack accordingly, because really they have such a wide variety of options.
Well, and so I'm glad you brought that up, because that is the one thing that I really do think we've kind of gotten lost on a little bit here is you don't need to find a 2C. You need to find a top 6 player, or someone that you think could fit into your top 6, at least at the beginning of the season. And I liked a lot of what Chris McFarland said at kind of the end of the day on, what was it, July 13th? It's normally July 1st. And so all this has me all messed up. But whatever free agency day was, where he basically said, look, we're going to solve this issue, whether it's in the next 4 hours, in the next 4 weeks, or in the coming months. Like, we're going to figure out what goes into play there. We're not in a rush. That's one thing that this Avs team has always done, very well. And they've stuck to their guns of, we're not going to back ourselves into a bad situation, whether it be through, a bad contract, or whatever it is. We're not going to put ourselves in a bad situation because we feel like we need to do something right away. So they're going to take their time and they're going to find the right fit. I just don't know if you need to go out and give out 2C money or make a trade for 2C, which again, we're going to get into the trade stuff here in a little bit. When I just don't know if you need to do that.
Yeah. I mean, people often forget about the prospect pool too, right? I mean, you can easily give somebody some opportunities and you have all regular season to figure that out. So, I mean, I know Martin Kaut hasn't exactly been the most glamorous prospect in the system, but why not throw him at the bottom of the lineup, see what he can do for a game or two, and see if he's made some improvements. If not, move on, maybe make a move for him. You still got Sampo Ranta, who's supposed to be promising, right? Maltsev. So maybe you throw him, Maltsev, you throw some of those guys into the lineup, and suddenly you're not looking to fill so many voids. But you look at that second line, and really, if you lose Nas, you're going to have to fulfill Burakovsky's role too, right? Because I mean, that's how the season started, was a Nichushkin, Kadri, Burakovsky line. So you're looking for 2 slots really on that set. So I say, why not? Okay, why not fill it? Why not fill it with somebody internally on one spot and then look for somebody outside on the other spot? Evan Rodriguez, another name I think I'd like being floated out there. Go ahead and make your piece.
Well, no. I was just going to say, like, to me, Arturi Lehkonen already kind of filled that Burakovsky.
Yeah, for sure.
I do, like, I look at this roster right now, and it's essentially, forget the goaltenders because that's kind of a different topic. The lineup, as it's constructed right now, today, without Nazem Kadri, you have swapped Nicholas Aube-Kubel for Ben Myers, and then you have a hole at that 2C. Otherwise, the lineup, if opening night was tonight, that lineup would be near identical to the Game 6 Stanley Cup final lineup for the Avs, which was one of the best games that we saw them play all season, was that group. So you're not in this like super desperate spot. That's part of the reason why I liked so much that the Avs just said, hey, look, we're going to run it back with our own UFAs. We're not going to go out and, pay huge open market money to bring in a bunch of guys that we don't know. All these guys love our locker room. Our locker room loves them. They understand the system. They understand the coaches. Just run it back. And now you're just kind of one spot short. So for me, if you can take an Evan Rodriguez, a Sonny Milano, a Paul Stasny, or a bunch of, there's a bunch of other names maybe on the wing or someone that you could acquire via trade. To me, that just makes a little bit more sense. And look, if you have to pivot and make a change in the season at the deadline, you can do that. You're the defending Stanley Cup champions. You get a year of buffer to try some stuff and just see what you come up with. And I think they should lean into that.
I'd like to think that that's true, right? That maybe they can move on without Nazem Kadri and perform at equally, if not better, of a clip, I guess. You're obviously missing a ton of points.
Oh, absolutely.
If he leaves. But if you really look at it, I mean, the power play, I think, is just fine without Naz, especially if you throw Arturi Lehkonen in that first power play. I think he fills that kind of middle position just fine. Yep. The power play was a pivotal piece to this team. The penalty kill obviously has nothing to do with Nazem Kadri. Yep. You're just missing some point production. So you're going to have to find a way to compensate there. Yeah. That's the biggest hurdle. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, there are definitely areas of the game that you could say, you know what, this team might be just fine the way it is. Right. But might is the word you're definitely emphasizing there.
Yeah, and I don't want to undersell what Nazem Kadri did for the Avs. He had a great season. I mean, emotional leader. And again, I think you and I even talked about this. Maybe this was you who said this to me. Maybe the two biggest moments of the postseason both come off Nazem Kadri's stick, arguably, right? The hat trick in St. Louis after everything that happened for him to go out and have that performance. That's one of the more memorable Avalanche Stanley Cup playoff moments in history.
And that was the conversation.
Right. And then the broken hand comes back, wins it, and after honestly a bad game, wins it in overtime with a spectacular goal to put the Avs on the brink of winning the cup. I'm not trying to downplay any of that. I'm more of just saying, I think this roster is so good. I think it's so deep. I think the team is so well coached that as good as Nazem Kadri was, I don't think they win the cup without Nazem Kadri. But I think you can find someone who fits in that spot. Now you're going to have a full season of Arturi Lehkonen. Val Nichushkin really looks like he's continuing to take steps forward. I just think this roster is so good that you can get away with it. You can get a little cute and get away with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess looking at the situation as a whole, right, with Kadri and taking his time to make a decision, I mean, do you think it's really Kadri taking the time to make the decision? Do you think it's more waiting on some teams to make their moves to make the decision? Or what's the DNVR speculation is my question. I'm sorry to say I don't necessarily listen to all your guys' podcasts.
Wow.
Hey, there's a lot of content out there. It's my off season. Give me a break. Give me a break. So DNVR group, what are you guys seeing as what the reason is that it's taking so long? And a lot of people out there are saying that the longer it takes, the better it feels that the chances are that the Avs re-sign them. Do you subscribe to that?
So I actually was just having this conversation with someone the other day where I keep going back and forth. The longer we went in the day on free agents on July 13th, yes, I felt like it benefited the Avs. And then once it went past free agency or that opening bell day, I was like, set and forget. He's coming back. He made it past opening day. He'll just re-sign. But now with every day that goes by, I think you're just opening yourself up to, I think I just think the market shook out differently than he thought. So I think he's talked to a couple teams that have said, hey, look, we want to be able to give you some of this bigger money that you feel you're worth. We think you're worth, but we can't fit that in right now. And I think teams are trying to avoid putting themselves in the situation that Vegas has where you're having to make these trades. You're having to give Max Pacioretty away for absolutely nothing. So they're saying, hey, wait, let us make these deals and clear up the cap space first so that we don't put ourselves in a bad situation. And then we can come to you with an offer.
Those deals aren't being made though. So I think the teams receiving those offers, right, are saying, we smell the desperation on you. We know how badly you want this, and are maybe asking for a bit of an overpayment there.
Yep. And I think you're just kind of leading to this weird stalemate. And so I think now, honestly, JJ, the longer this goes on, I think you open yourself up to, and I'm just going to use a team as an example without looking at cap friendly, right? I think you open yourself up to a Calgary, or a New York, the Islanders, the Kraken. I know he's saying he wants to go to a contender, but I think the longer you go, you open yourself up to Seattle saying, hey, $8 million, 6 years, take it or leave it. And if you're Nazem Kadri and you're looking for that big payday, you say, okay, I can go play with Burakovsky. I can now be a mentor for Beniers and for Shane Wright. You can kind of be that 1C for the next year and a half, 2 years.
Read that last tweet there.
Yeah.
Or comment, not tweet.
Take less. Yeah. No, I mean, so this is the other thing too, right?
Read it.
Oh, do you want me to read it out loud?
See it? I don't know how it works.
Yeah, no, they can see it. It's on the screen. Yeah, if he wants to win, he has to take less. If he wants some money, he will play on a bad team. No good teams have $8 million laying around. 100%. And I think that's why you heard him kind of change his tone. I think when he showed up on the actual day, right? Because nobody tampers, nobody talks before the official opening. Wink, wink. I think he kind of realized, ooh, I thought I was going to have some $8.5, $9 million offers. I don't. Well, then I want to go play for a contender. And like, you've got Cap Friendly pulled up right there. Like, those contending teams just don't have money.
There are two things that stand out to me when I'm looking at Cap Friendly. One of them is you go to Calgary's page, right? And you see how much cap room they have. And last I checked a couple hours ago, I think it was 18 mil.
Yeah.
I think if there was a Calgary deal to be done, it would have been done by now. The other side of it, I see Patrice Bergeron still active on the free agent list, right? So that tells me Boston's trying to make a play for Kadri still. They're trying to work some things around before they secure anything with Patrice Bergeron, because I think they know they have some flexibility there, right? Patrice Bergeron doesn't want to go anywhere else, so they're going to say, this is how much we have left. Here you go.
Yeah, you take what's left.
So, yeah, I look into that, and I just see, there are some – because I think if you're Nazem Kadri, you're like, yeah, Boston, I could see myself fitting in there. They're not too far off from being a contender, and Naz thinks highly of himself. He say, I can go make them a contender by just simply hopping into their role. So I don't know. I think there's still so much in the air. As the hockey world is so good at keeping things close to the vest, especially when the majority of the hockey media world is on vacation.
Is
right
at their
now.
cottage?
They're not getting their scoops. So
and I'm sorry, I know you're trying to move us on here, but like, does this not feel, you're 100% correct in like the hockey community stays pretty tight-lipped. Does this not feel like the tightest lipped? Like, I'm not ultra plugged in, but throughout the year, I've picked up a few sources, got in contact with a few people.
Dang, that's more than me.
And dude, like, everybody that I reach out to has heard nothing. Not hearing anything from Naz's agent, family member. Like, they are keeping this tight-lipped. And it's just interesting. And I think it's part of the reason why it feels like there's so much nothing going on. Because usually it's rumors and, it's down to these teams. And, this team made a pitch. Or, this team, reached out to his camp. There's just none of it.
Right. Or I remember one time when PK Subban was on the trade market when he was still in Nashville. No, when he was still in Montreal.
Yeah.
And I asked Joe Sakic post-trade deadline, hey, did you kick the tires at all on PK Subban? And his answer was like, we kick the tires on a lot of people, right? So anytime you hear like, hey, this team reached out, like, yeah, probably every team reached out. Right. So you can't really read too much into that, to your point. So, yeah, I guess in speculation here, to me, it feels like perhaps there's a verbal agreement in place between Naz and the Avalanche right now. But there might be a couple verbal agreements in place between Naz and other teams. Yeah. But I think if anything, if the Avs can make it work, I think they have priority in Naz's eyes. But
I agree.
He wants that pay raise. He deserves that pay raise. So, I still give the edge to the Avs, but maybe like 55%, right? Just that slight edge.
Like over the field. No, I think that's spot on. Because look, like, I don't think it's any secret. He likes the fan base here. Him and his family like being in Colorado. I think he wants to be here, but I also think he understands that, look, Joe Sakic, Chris McFarland, Chris McFarland's at the helm right now. But this is still the same management that has not been shy about not giving big money or handcuffing themselves long-term. I mean, we just saw them do it in back-to-back years with starting goaltenders who were very good for them. Say, Darcy Kemper just won them a cup, and they were like, yeah, no, thanks, but we're not doing that. We're not going to put ourselves in a bad spot long-term. So he knows they're not shy about doing that. And they're not just going to give him a blank check because they like him a lot.
Yeah, and from his standpoint, I'm sure you can relate to this, Jesse. I mean, yeah, I like being here in Colorado too, but for the right amount, I'm out here.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple cities where the amount would have to be a little bit higher, but
for sure. And there's definitely some NTCs on there, no trades.
That's always have you ever done that? We did that as a show a few years ago. Maybe we'll do it again this summer. What's your 10-team no trade?
That'd be fun. I want to join if you guys do that.
Yeah.
And if you guys do a psychic prediction, I loved the outside the box thought behind whoever put that together.
You can take my spot on that one because Megan's big into all of that, and we were talking about it, and I was like, ooh, I think I'm off.
I'm in. I'm big into the astrology thing. I got astrology tattooed on me. It looks like you got tripped last night in your men's league.
No, I'll say so. We got a super chat here from B. Oh God. So I'm warming up last night, and official skates over to me. He goes, "Hey, are you Jesse?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Big fan of the show. Listen every day."
He wasn't a Tim Peel fan, was he?
I don't think so. Tim Peel didn't come up. But yeah, then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to try to give you the benefit of the doubt." And then he got me for a hooking like 5 minutes in. I thought it was clean, but always go to the box. It's men's league. Who's gonna get mad? Right?
I'm embarrassed to say I've been tossed out of my last 2 men's league games.
Your last 2. See, it's been a few years since I've been tossed.
I got a big mouth, Jesse. I got a big mouth.
Yeah, to be fair, we had already had 2 power plays like 7 minutes in, so like probably owed us.
Keeping it even.
Yeah,
Keep
no.
it even.
Appreciate it.
Let's get to our ad reads.
Great very well officiated game last night.
I don't believe it. I don't think that's a word that ever, or a sentence that's ever been truly spoken in Colorado. But yeah, we got Avaca and Breck Brew to get to here.
Yeah. Look, man, we talked a little bit about the altitude situation earlier in the week. Thought maybe there was some light at the end of the tunnel with the Comcast dish stuff. Doesn't look like it is. Doesn't matter. Just head over to Avaca TV. If you haven't been able to watch the Nuggets, Avs, or Rapids, head on over, get switched. You can watch all of the Colorado teams you love with Avaca. They're a completely new approach. No contracts, no long-term, anything like that. It's less expensive, delivers superior picture and quality. Service includes locals like Altitude, AT&T Sportsnet, as well as a ton of national channels as well. They're growing every single day and expanding, so you are going to just continue adding on to those packages. Look, they're available everywhere in Colorado Springs and in the Denver metro area. So I can't get my mouse over here to, there we go. They've got channels like I said, Altitude, AT&T, and DNVR. If you have Avaca, you can be watching us live on the DNVR channel.
It's terrifying.
Right now, yeah.
We could be on someone's television.
Yeah, we're probably on a lot of people's television right now because everyone's switching to Avaca.
We got to start dressing better, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean.
Look at us. We're just ready to go surfing. Sorry.
Hey, we look fit for a night out in Tampa. So yeah, you got rounds 2 through 4 on national television, but you probably weren't able to grab the first round. Avaca has that as well. All of this, I keep saying all this. Baseball's underway. You got the Rockies surging right now, maybe making a push for a wild card spot. You can watch them on Avaca TV. I keep saying all this, but look, dude, really the main thing is they have Altitude Sports. Stop waiting for this to get sorted out. Head on over to evaca.tv/DNVR. Use the promo code DNVR. You're going to get $10 off for each of your first 3 months. So you are only paying $15 a month, plus the cost of receiver. No contracts, no hidden fees. Again, evaca.tv/DNVR. Get your Altitude Sports hooked up so you are ready to go. As the season gets going here, not all that long from now. What we're talking like 8 weeks, something like that. Preseason gets rolling. So get set up now. That way you make sure you're all set to go. Yeah, like JJ mentioned, we're also brought to you guys by our great friends over at Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. Their beers will be on tap, and we'll have all their regular seltzers back at the bar once the DNVR Bar 2.0 opens back up here, I believe, in August, right before NFL preseason starts. So we'll have them all there. They've got beer for any occasion. There's no better way to watch the game than with a Breck brew. They've been doing it for over 30 years. So their love and passion comes through every time you pick up a drink. The Good Company hard seltzers and lemonade seltzers, which are my favorite on a hot summer day like this. They've also got the Avalanche Amber Ale, Rudo's favorite, Drew Strop IPA, Summer Pills Shandy, Strawberry Sky, one of my favorites, and the Vanilla Porter Jr. Use that Breck Beer locator on their website to find where they are being sold nearest you. So it's the official drink of the summer, JJ.
No, I'm in. Is the Vanilla Porter Jr., is that named after Michael Porter Jr.?
It is, yes.
Who you can also watch with Vodka TV, right? That's the benefit, right? I feel like if you ever get headaches, I get frequent headaches, right? And sometimes they get really bad. And if you were to come up to me and say, just give me $15 and you won't have a headache for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
Right? I would absolutely pay those $15. And that's what it is when you do like the streaming these teams is such a headache when you do it the pirate way, right? And that's what gets exhausting is one night I'm trying to watch the Avs on the road, and then the next night I'm trying to watch the Nuggets, and it's like I don't really want to deal with the headache 2 nights in a row, back-to-back nights. So I think Ivaka sounds like a win.
Well, and dude, like honestly, everyone, whenever we talk about the altitude stuff, we always get comments in the chat and on TV, or excuse me, on Twitter, where it's like, oh, well, you can stream it. It's like, I know, but I just want to be able to come home, grab the remote, turn it on. With Ivaka, you can do that. Grab a Breck brew, sit down in front of your TV, turn on Ivaka, and catch the Avs and Nuggets.
And it's game time. It's going to be here sooner than we know it.
Yeah,
sooner than we know it. I think I saw it was 82 days today. 82.
Is it 82?
Yeah. Shout out to Brennan for posting those every day.
Dude.
He's been counting down.
McNicholas?
No. Vought. The guy that does Avalanche territory, he shows up.
Yes.
Good guy.
Yes,
Good guy. He's trying to make his way through the industry here.
Absolutely.
So we've been talking Nazem Kadri the whole time so far.
Yep.
But of course, we also know that there's caveats to signing Kadri, right? It's not just simply, hey, give him the money, let's go. They have to move some pieces, break some eggs to make an omelet, if you will. I love using that phrase because it's so true.
It's a good one. And so true. You are correct.
Yeah. You can't make an omelet by just throwing the egg in there.
Well,
the most frequent conversation we're hearing right now to make Nazem Kadri work is a Sam Girard trade. Yeah. Now, I know Sam Girard's one of those players. Every once in a while, we have those players. I mean, usually there's probably about 3 or 4 on the team right now where there's a whole contingency of Avs fans that are all about him and a whole contingency of Avs fans that want him out of town. Tyson Joseph's one of those people, right? Yep. And I feel like Sam Girard has developed into one of those people as well.
Scapegoats.
Right. So let's get into that conversation. Is Sam Girard a good piece? Do you like the idea of shipping him out to keep Nazem Kadri?
So, I'll be honest, I don't know. It started about a year and a half ago where, like you said, a certain contingency of the Avalanche fan base just kind of flipped on him. And people went from talking about him as one of maybe the best value contracts in the NHL to, oh, this guy is overpaid for what he does. He's too small. He's this, he's that. And it seemed like ever since then, it's just been this kind of like rolling wave of people on that train. Now, I'll start by saying this. I get where some of the justification comes from, right? He just got hurt. And the Avs went on to win the Stanley Cup without him in the lineup.
And that's the toughest thing. It's a rough look.
Right. So I get the argument of, is he expendable? By that standard, probably, yeah. Probably. I don't think his injury is a product of him being too undersized. It was a really violent hit that just kind of caught him in the wrong place. I mean, broken sternum, that's you getting crunched this way. It doesn't matter if you're 8'11" or 5'10". If you get crunched the wrong way, you get crunched the wrong way.
Sure.
We'll
leave that there.
I don't like the idea of moving on from a core piece of this defense because I really do think this defense as it's constructed, is going to be the driver of Colorado's play for the next 2-3 years while Devontae's is still locked up, and obviously we'll see what happens there. But like right now, you are looking at right now today, you're looking at Taves Makar, Byram Manson, Girard Johnson. Shuffle it around that bottom four as you see fit. I dare you to find me a better decor in the NHL than that.
Sure, but I think that the way you just lined it up is exactly why I might be able to see his departure acceptable, because you have him on the third pair. I mean, how many third pair defensemen out there are making $5 million a year? And that's the problem, right? I mean, I think one thing you really have to keep in mind is Cale Makar. He had a great stretch of consecutive games there to close out the season, but that's not typical from what we've seen in his short career so far. He tends to take these small injury breaks. He gets, tweaked here and there that he needs. So then he's out of the lineup. What do you do there? Well, the easy answer, Bowen Byram. Yep. You don't want to bury Bowen Byram deep in the lineup because he has a lot of what you need in the future, I think. I think he shows more promise than Sam Girard.
Fully.
And so you're kind of caught in this situation where you're deciding Sam Girard or Bo Byram. I think that's really the conversation right now, because you want to keep Bo Byram around. You want to, give him an extension, whether, eventually.
Yeah.
So is keeping Sam Girard around putting you at risk of losing Bo Byram, whether it's sooner or later, losing him at one point? Because I think we'd all agree we'd love to see Bo Byram maybe even finish his career in an Avalanche sweater,
100%.
More so than we'd say that about Sam Girard, right?
No, for sure.
So I think that's where it's tough, but I don't love the idea of breaking down a championship team so much.
Right.
I mean, and that's pivotal, and that's what gave them so much flexibility. Is Sam Girard went down, they were able to reach into the depth and have a guy fill in. Rather than if they were to just sign Jack Johnson and keep that third pair of Johnson and Johnson this year, I don't think that's what you want to be your core.
Right. I'm glad you brought up the injury piece, because that's actually one of the reasons why I think, and I agree with you. Look, if it comes to next offseason and it's what this comment right here says, you don't have to move him this year because he fits. If it comes to next year and what you are needing to give Bo Byram, to your point, exceeds, if you need to make room for Bo and Byram, then that's when I think you start having that conversation. Like for this upcoming season, Bo Byram is still going to be on that last year of his ELC. And because Makar, he's specific about the way, how he feels, he takes care of his body. If he feels like he needs a couple games off to get back up to speed, he's going to do that. And I just think if you have that flexibility where you can flex Sam Girard up and down your lineup, Bo Byram up and down your lineup, and also keep in mind the way that Jared Bednar deploys his defense, we see a mix of looks. So throughout the course of a game, you'll see Sam Girard play with 2 or 3 different partners. Bo Byram play with 2 or 3 different partners. So yes, maybe he's listed on your third pair, but if that allows you to roll all 3 pairs, roll 4 or 5 or 6 guys for the whole game, so you're not having to lean on your top guys so much, I just think it makes too much sense. The Avs got so many matchup advantages out of their defense last year. I mean, we saw it countless times in the playoffs on big plays where the Avs were able to match Byram, Makar against fourth lines, third lines. And to your point, if you tear down too much of this, you just kind of lose that. So for me, for this season, I don't think it makes a ton of sense to move on from Girard just to make a center fit.
Yeah, a center. Yeah, you're kind of cutting him short there, right? I think that the argument really is, and yeah, you're right. The defensive group and their defensive structure was a huge part of their success over the last couple of years, right? I mean, that's why they were able to plug and play Darcy Kemper and just make it work kind of the way they made it work with Philip Grubauer because of the pieces in front of them. Those are super important. So you're basically arguing with yourself and Chris McFarland and Joe Sakic and the new guy they hired today. I forget his name already.
McDonald.
Yeah. They love Max here
Kevin
in Colorado,
McDonald,
don't they? They got McFarland, McDonald, McDermott, McKinnon, McCarr.
McDonald again.
So the decision they're having to make here is what's more important to us, this lockdown defensive structure where we can plug and play any goalie, i.e. a brand new goalie that we have this year, or the point production that was brought to us by Nazem Kadri. I mean, it's really a rock and a hard place. And that's the conversation they're having. That's the conversation we're all having in our own heads. And I don't know if there's really a right answer. It's just whatever you think is going to benefit the team the most.
Right.
On a hunch, I feel like that defensive structure is more important.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of came into this with an open mind. I feel like I'm swaying more towards the keep Girard side.
Yeah, and I to your point, I don't want to. Again, I'm trying really hard not to short sell Nazem Kadri, and I don't just mean a center. I'm more of talking about that top 6 spot. Is it worth it to you? And maybe the answer ultimately ends up being yes. Is it worth it to you to move a piece that you know he's cost controlled, right? Sam Girard, he's at $5 million. He's not going up. This isn't the NBA. You can't restructure. You know what he's at. You know how he fits. Is it worth you moving on from a guy like that you like, that has been a good, productive player for you? Not great. Has he had his moments of, has he had his blemishes? Of course, every player does. But he's been good for you. He's been what you've asked of him. He fits your style well. Is moving on from that worth it to sign a new contract up front, and now you have another hole that you need to replace on the back end? I personally don't think it is, at least as of right now. I think, and this is maybe what we can get into right now, I think there's plenty of options out there that keep you from having to do something like that are passable. And that defense being as good as it is makes it so that you can have some flexibility in goal and up front, because you have such a rock solid foundation to lean back on.
Yeah, and forking over all everything that feels like Nazem Kadri's asking for, right? The term and the dollar amount at 31 years of age doesn't really seem like the best business decision. Of course, all the fans
when
in
the
us,
season starts.
Yeah, all the fans in us say, "No, you got to bring him back. Did you not see those goals? You brought it up. He 2 biggest goals in the playoffs." So, I mean, it's all things that need to be thought about. Throw it up on the whiteboard, pros, cons, cross some stuff out. It's much deeper than just what can be covered in an hour-long podcast.
Right. And here's the other thing to keep in mind, and this is the part that people lose sight of, right? Because you watch stuff from a biased perspective. As when you're a fan, you watch it from a biased perspective, which that's the whole point of being a fan. Why is it that people suggest they should trade Sam Girard? It's because he has value. It's because there's 25 teams at least that would look at him as a bona fide, no questions asked, set and forget top 4 defenseman.
And they feel like it's diminishing value here in Colorado.
Right.
They're like, we've seen his peak. We don't think he's going to provide much more than what he's already brought. Let's sell him while he's high.
Right.
Not high, like literally. Sell him while his stock is high.
Sell him while he's stoned.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, and it is just, you have to keep that in mind, that he has value for a reason.
Which brings you to maybe other solutions, right?
Yep.
There's other guys that you can perhaps ship out. They haven't been as popularly floated out there, but I guess other moves that could be out there to get it done. On my most recent podcast, we talked about JT Compher. I kind of felt he was much more replaceable than a Sam Girard. You take JT Compher out of the lineup, he brought a lot of big goals. He brings timely clutch goals.
Yep.
But he also brings some downsides, right? There's sometimes where you're waiting. It's been a couple days since we've seen JT Compher produce any sort of point whatsoever. So is there something in there? Is there a package deal you see for JT Compher to maybe make it work, that you can get him out of town? Do you even like that idea? But again, I brought up at the beginning of the show the plethora of centers that they have in this system, not only on the main team, but on the Eagles as well.
What's hard for me about moving on from JT Compher is, it's, in my opinion, it's telling that he is the last of the frat line, right, from a few years ago, that he's the last man standing. He's just so versatile for this Avs team. And like you said, his big black mark is that he goes stretches without really doing anything. Mm-hmm. And then right when you are about ready to fully write him off, he scores 2 huge goals against the St. Louis Blues in a massive game 6.
Let's not forget, his name was heavily floated around trade deadline too. Yep. And he ended up sticking around, and it was Jost that got shipped. out. And so I also think that JT Compher is a Band-Aid solution. Short-term solution at that 2C if you need a guy to flex into that spot. So I don't know, but I'll be honest with you, because of what they have
kind of up and down the lineup. I do think he's a little bit maybe more expendable than a Sam Girard. And look, for me, honestly, man, if if I'm going to go out, if I'm Chris McFarland and I'm going to go out and I'm going to make a trade, I'm just going to go make a trade for a player that I want to plug in that spot. Why am I going to go just make a salary cap dump to re-sign someone? Just go trade for someone that you want there. I think there are plenty of names that are out there that would make sense. I think there's teams that are looking to maybe move on from some guys that are looking to move on from teams.
So you see it as a step backwards to take a step forwards. You're still essentially square one.
Well, what I'm just saying is that if you're going to go get involved in the trade market and you're going to move a guy like JT Compher, go bring someone back that you feel you can plug into that second line spot. And your depth, to your point, like you can fill out the bottom half of your lineup internally.
So the vibe I'm getting from you is you don't even really want Kadri back.
No,
it doesn't seem to make sense to you.
I would like for them to bring Nazem Kadri back. In a perfect world, I think he's a great fit here. I think he loves it here. I think the fans love him here. I think it's a great fit. I don't see how he fits from a dollar standpoint without substantially hurting another part of your team and possibly putting you in a bad spot long term. And it's not that I don't want him. I just don't think the Avs are going to do that. They've just shown time and time again under this regime that they aren't going to handcuff themselves for multiple years for a short-term decision. And as much as I'd like to see him come back, the more and more I think about it, I just don't see the way that it works with what we know he wants money-wise. You know, you have some trade options out there where you can get some salary retained. You can move some salary out as you bring it back. I just don't. You'd essentially be trading JT Compher for Nazem Kadri, and Nazem Kadri's already on your team. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And it just, I've tried for weeks now, to make the money work. And I just don't see how it fits with Nazem Kadri with, to your point, some of the other offers that you know are going to be out there. I had someone throw in my mentions, what if they gave him 8 years at $5 million a year? Like he gets to 40 million and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe. But like outside of that, I just don't see how you make Nazem Kadri fit.
And if I'm Nazem Kadri, I'm like, I find myself more valuable than Val Nichushkin, and you're going to pay Val Nichushkin more than me. Like,
right.
GTFO, right? Like,
right.
I'm going somewhere else. And obviously 8 years gets pretty scary, but
right.
in the NHL, you can worry about that down the road. But no, I get what you're saying for sure. It's, I mean, that's why they get paid the big bucks, and the NHL is just in a tight spot where the salary cap these last couple of years, and you're seeing it across the league. It's not just the Avalanche having to make tough decisions. It's everywhere. I mean, right? The Vegas Golden Knights had to get rid of Max Pacioretty. They loved him, right? Yeah. And it just looks like they're tearing down the team. Chicago's tearing down the team.
And then this comment right here from Casey Cheatham: moving Girard and then potentially losing Taves in 2024. You've now lost 2/3 of the left side of your defense in 2 years. I think we have to make sure that we're careful about short-term returns and then hurting yourself in the long term. You're in a 5-year window here where you should really be pushing for another cup or two. Is giving Nazem Kadri big money and having to move a guy like Girard, does that get you closer to that goal by, winning another cup or two by 2027? Or does that kind of put you down into this middling spot? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the kind of stuff that I think you have to weigh. It's easy to have the emotions about Kadri and stuff right now because you're fresh off the cup win. He did a lot of great things. I'd love to see him back here. I just don't see how it fits. I look around the league. I look at a guy like Chandler Stevenson in Vegas. Vegas still needs to move some money around. I don't know if they'd want to move him to a team they're so closely contending with, but that's a name that's out there. Vlad Tarasenko, another name that's out there. 1 year, he's at 7-2. You get them to eat a couple $1 million. You send back a couple sweeteners. Yes, that's in division. I don't know. Connor Garland. That's a name who's been out there that I think could be a decent top 6 guy.
I've said that he'd be a great fit here for a few years.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch.
Jesse Puljujärvi.
I'd love that. Yep.
There's a Finnish second line winger. You don't think
so? They're cheaper options, is what
Right.
you're saying. And you know, my point is that it's tough to fill that point void. But I don't. Who's to say he's ever going to produce at a clip like that ever again?
Why hasn't he been signed yet? It's because teams are saying, "Wow, what a great year! You were a huge part of that cup-winning team." Can you do that again? Because you've never done it before.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't have a contract right now.
He's like, I can absolutely do it again. They're like, what are you talking about? You only have one hand right now.
Right. I think if this was his second or third time hitting 80, 85, 90 points, he would have been done on July 13th before noon. There's a reason it's still floating out there, and there's a reason this is taking a long time. And I look around the league and I'm saying, look, if you're going to go get involved in the trade market, Mark Scheifele, Patrick Kane's name is out there. The Avs have been interested in him. Patrick Laine just signed this morning, but Pierre-Luc Dubois wants out of Winnipeg. Like, there are options out there. If you're going to go out there and get involved in the trade market and be making these splashy trades with big names like Sam Girard, go out and get your guy. Like, just go out and get someone.
Yeah, and the reality of the current NHL landscape is that no NHL teams can really have too many superstars without the salary cap going up. So There's really a balance, because obviously, like, you look at that Nathan McKinnon extension, everybody and their mom and their mom's cousin want to give him a raise.
Yeah.
But you give him a raise without the salary cap going up, you got to break some eggs.
Yeah.
If you want that omelet, baby, you got to crack some eggs. Right now seems like a perfect time to get to Colorado Golf Association and Athletic Greens.
That's right. This is the DNVR Avalanche podcast, brought to you by DraftKings. Also brought to you guys a new partner here, Colorado Golf Association. Our friends over at the Colorado Golf Association have an awesome raffle going for all of our golf fans, which it's the summer. I think most people listening are probably golf fans, right? Check out the Dream Golf Vacation Raffle. Prizes include stay and play packages at I should have done a little bit more pronunciation Googling on this. Wailea Blue Golf Course in Maui.
I feel like you did pretty well there.
Thank you.
That's gotta be it.
Whistling Straits, a Naples Golf Tour, and Palm Beach Golf Tour, as well as a $5,000 gift card to Brandon Dunes. Anyone who enters, anyone who enters will be eligible to win an early bird prize of a VIP experience at the 2022 BMW Championship, where the winner will get an inside the rope experience and walk with the players in the event. All proceeds benefit the CGA community programs, including Youth on the Course and Solich Cattle and Leadership Academy. Youth on Course allows kids 18 and under to play courses around the state for $5 or less. And the Solich Academy is a flagship program at the CGA for kids to caddy in a 2-year training program. Head to coloradogolf.org to get your raffle tickets today. coloradogolf.org.
So raffling, just one of the coolest golf tours you could ever go on in your life, essentially.
Basically, right? Yeah. Multiple of the coolest golf tours you've ever gone on in your life. So head on over there and get your raffle tickets today. Next partner is one that you guys hear me gush about all the time. Rudo actually gives me a hard time because I went around and stole everyone's Athletic Greens who hadn't taken their free sample home. Because
what's up? Yeah.
It's
love greens.
Yeah. Have you ever had Athletic Greens?
I use a different brand. Ooh, sorry.
It's for the second time this show, here. Just go ahead and end it. These samples at work.
I've heard nothing but great things.
Yeah.
I need to try Athletic Greens. I've only tried the one brand, right? You got to diversify. Once you find greens, you're like, oh my God, I love it. There's more than one brand.
There's more than one out there. Actually, when you walked over, we were listening to another podcast. They were talking about Athletic Greens. Look, we got these samples and Hannah and I started using them. It's 1 scoop of their dry powder in your water every day. And it is a full day's worth of fruits and veggies, basically all the supplements that you would actually need for your day, vitamins, minerals, all that good stuff, made from whole food sourced superfoods. They have 75 high quality vitamins. They have minerals, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Seriously, we get up each morning before we brush our teeth. It's just 1 scoop in our water bottle. Look, I'll be honest. It's a very green, natural taste. So we add a little bit like the Crystal Light, like lemonade in there.
Just sugar it on up.
Well, just a little bit, to add that zing. And honestly, as someone who I wouldn't describe myself as picky, but I have a little bit of a choosier palate. I love it. It's cold water. It's refreshing.
I'm the same way. I'm a mac and cheese and chicken tender kind of guy,
Dude,
and I'm always taken back by how well they make these greens taste.
Yeah.
So you threw all these vegetables in here, and it tastes like this. And usually they all have spirulina in it, right? Any greens will have spirulina, and that's super, super good for you. I think it's made from algae or something like that, but it helps burn fat, helps just create so many good things in the body. Athletic Greens, I mean, if you're missing out on this, you're missing out on the future. Like, this is...
Well, dude, look, so like you, mac and cheese and chicken nuggets, I don't like, everyone's giving me a hard time because I don't like getting veggies in like Chinese food and stuff like that. With Athletic Greens, I don't need to. I get all my veggies at once.
Yep.
And it, like I said, it really is. It's refreshing. I'm not a coffee drinker. I feel like it gives me a nice boost in the morning. Rudo and I were also laughing because I was drinking Athletic Greens while I was sick. He and I got sick on the exact same day. Rudo is still dealing with it. I was over mine like a week ago, and we were all like, one of us drinks Athletic Greens, one of us doesn't. And I'm already back up and going. Helps with your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, your focus, and aging. Basically just all the things, JJ. Digestion, helps you with your energy, all of that good stuff. Head on over to athleticgreens.com/avalanche. So I know you guys heard about it here. That's athleticgreens.com/avalanche. And take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And to make it easy, when you go to athleticgreens.com/avalanche, they are going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. One more time, athleticgreens.com/avalanche. And that's it. Then you're done with your veggies for the day.
I'm telling you, those 5 sponsors we've talked about today, I can really get behind. Some TV, some beer, some Athletic Greens, a little bit of betting, and some golf.
Yeah, I'm in.
That's my life. That's my life right there in a nutshell. Somebody asking me if I went to Mullen High School. Yes, I've been recognized. I've been spotted.
You went to Mullen, eh?
Yep, 2006 state champs. What's up?
I did not know you were Mullen.
Indeed. So yeah, the closing portion of our show, Jesse, I prepared for us a fun little conversation because, we've all been talking about Nazem Kadri for well over a week now. We just beat it into the ground. I hope everybody can walk away with some good talking points when they go to their own water cooler, right? Because that's oftentimes the point of sports radio and podcasting and whatnot. We've been seeing all the players' days with the cup, right? Yeah. Obviously, none of the big names really yet. We've seen Obe Kubel, Jack Johnson got his, Girard, Pavel Francouz most recently over there in Czechia now. I don't want to call it the Czech Republic and insult anybody or offend anybody. But that brings me to a fun hypothetical question, Jesse. If you win the cup, let me throw this caveat in there. Here's the difference, right? Because everybody takes it to their hometown.
Right.
Your hometown, of course, is already Denver, Colorado, right? Or I guess it would be New Mexico, but you claim Denver as your hometown. So that's
don't
not
say
exciting.
That too loud.
You can't
embarrass me.
You can't say, I'm going to take this bad boy to my hometown where it's already been and everybody's already over it. But that being said, you have a day with the cup. How are you running it? What are you doing? What's your perfect day with the Stanley Cup?
Man, so I've honestly, I've been thinking about this for a little while now. And I
don't forget, you're also famous in this.
Right. I know what I would eat something out of it. What was that look?
I'm just waiting to hear what you're going to eat out of it.
I'd probably do a nice big old bowl of someone walking awfully close to the window, freaking me out a little bit. My fiance and I we make homemade pasta all the time. We love a nice homemade pasta. We make our own sauce. So I'd eat a giant Clarence Campbell bowl Dominion Challenge cup of pasta out of the top of it. Just some nice pink sauce, a little bit of chicken on top.
Pink sauce as in like a vodka sauce, like a feta cheese or an Alfredo
and a
tomato
marinara
mix.
Yeah. Yep. Again, make it from scratch. Some cream, garlic. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
So I don't want to rain on your parade on that.
Please
Then we'll get
because I don't know what I would do on a full
We'll get
day.
back to that. We'll get back to your day. But from some of the horror stories I read, right? Because the next portion of our show is going to be some of the strangest Stanley Cup stories.
Yeah.
A couple players, I think Chris Draper was one of them. They put their baby in the Stanley Cup, who then soiled the Stanley Cup, both 1 and 2.
No.
So I know they clean it out. And even when Chris Draper, I guess the story was Chris Draper's baby defecated in the Stanley Cup, they cleaned it out, and then Chris Draper drank out of it.
Oh,
but that just knowing that had been there, I don't think I can eat anything out of the cup. I mean, as much as I love ice cream, and think I would love to eat a bowl of ice cream out of the Stanley Cup, I don't think I could get myself to do it. That thing's been through way too much. I know it's clean. I know Clorox wipes exist. The Clorox wipes kills 99.9% of bacteria, Jesse.
Yeah, no, and there's etching in there, and there's bacteria and stuff that can get in. As someone who is definitely germ conscious, I think I'd still do it. I think I'd still eat out of it. And then personally,
as far as the rest of your day, you don't have any ideas?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I'd like to take it to like the rink where like I played 7 times a week growing up. But I don't know. I feel like all I've seen the players doing this time around are taking parade or doing parades and stuff. I haven't
to their hometowns, right?
Right. I haven't seen anybody do anything like particularly cool with it. What would you do? Help me spark some ideas here.
I don't know. I think I would have a selfish day, right? Unlike all the other NHLers, I don't think I'd be like, all right, let me go celebrate this with my community and everybody who helped me get here. I think I'd be like, I think I'd take it golfing.
Yeah.
I'd have a me day. I'd take it golfing. I'd probably start my day with some coffee with it.
Yeah.
Some delicious honey
cinnamon
latte.
Would you drink coffee out of it?
No, I told you.
Okay, that's right. No.
I'm not consuming anything out of it.
Sorry.
Go golfing with the boys.
Yep.
And that's the thing, right? Not just my teammates, the boys, the friends of mine that weren't necessarily on the team. Yep. Go golfing, hit a beach day. A beach day is a must. You take that thing, plant it in the sand. Think how cool the Stanley Cup looks in the sand. We've seen pictures of it in the sand, I think, for All-Star games and other things like that. So take it to the beach and then have yourself a night. I mean, I know they already had like a week full of nights, but you're with the boys all day golfing. What's better? You finish it off with a round at the beaches, and then you're hitting the clubs. I mean, to me, that's just the ideal. With the cup, and with people who haven't seen it too, right? I guess there's a little bit of community once you get to those clubs, and that draws a lot of attention. You're at the VIP booth, but no, you just have. That's me though. That's me. I'm having myself. So, let's just have the perfect day.
I love that. So here's what it is. Very similar to you. Just start real nice and easy. Some breakfast out on the patio with it just sitting right there. And then because I'm not a huge golfer, I'd probably go, rent a sheet of ice for an hour or two. Get the boys out there. Again, your friends, people that aren't necessarily on your team. Go play with it sitting maybe in the scorekeeper's box, right? And then, I liked what you said there. Go out to the beach. Go out to the park. Wherever you are geographically.
You got to go to the beach. Screw the park.
Yeah, okay, well, no, I'm with you, but, like, I don't have a beach around here. I have a park I can walk to in 90 seconds.
But don't forget, you're famous in this. Hypothetically, you can jet your way.
All right, yeah. Okay, so I'd go to the beach, have a huge beach day, and then I'd do I wouldn't go out, but I'd have, like, a big party, family, friends, with the cup just right in the middle,
like a little backyard barbecue.
Yeah. Maybe even on the beach, big fire pit going. Who knows? Because the visuals of it sitting in the sand, you are correct.
You'd love to do something awesome with it, right? You'd love to be that guy that's like, oh my God, we're going to talk about this for years. He took it on a helicopter up to Kilimanjaro and drank an iced tea.
Skydiving went down.
Yeah, exactly. But that's just not my style. I like to keep it cool, keep it party, and keep it, fun. Golf, beach, and party. That's my kind of day.
No, I like that. Yeah, see,
everybody hates me.
You wouldn't, yeah.
Silver's antibacterial. There's enough alcohol in there to have killed all the bacterial. Pup in a cup was hilarious. I guess I missed pup in a cup. What was pup in a cup?
I think did a dog poop in there or something like that?
I wouldn't doubt it. That's the thing. It's happened multiple times. Along with multiple times, I guess Mario Lemieux threw it in his pool once. and it sunk to the bottom, which I think no one anticipated because it is hollow, right? So you're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's throw it in. It probably floats, but it's also very heavy and probably sunk to the bottom, filled with water, and then it was really hard to get out. And then Patrick Wall went and did it a couple years later, the exact same thing, didn't learn from the lessons.
So I was laughing because I was talking to a buddy, and he was laughing about the Abe Kubel tripping on the ice and denting it. And you and I got a pretty good look at the cup later in the night when they were filing into the JW. And I was laughing because I was telling him, I was like, got up pretty close to it at one point. I was like, and I don't think people understand. I was like, that thing was dented to absolute hell before they even got back to the hotel.
So yeah, I was looking up the strangest stories before in our show prep here, and I remember when I was younger, I'd always heard about a drummer got a hold of the Stanley Cup, some famous early '90s, late '80s metal band drummer, and was drumming on the cup and put a ton of little dings in it, and they had apparently this thing gets dented. Oh, significantly more than once a season.
Do you remember
couldn't confirm the drummer story.
The Tampa Bay last year?
Yeah, didn't Pat Maroon drop it?
Oh, dude, I mean, and it was like, I mean, he dented it wasn't even a dent. He flattened half the actual cup.
The cup part of it.
On the top. I'm going to see if I can get this pulled up, send it over to Yah here. Because, like, dude, this thing gets beat up and destroyed.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember somebody on TV, whether I think it was Mike Rupp or Dave Reed, somebody was talking about how their day with the cup, it was broken. It was a broken cup because whoever had it last broke the cup part of it.
Oh, shit. Really? I had not heard that.
Yeah. So there's some wild stories. None of them are too crazy, but you know that the craziest ones are out there. They just haven't been told. Right. You know, because those Stanley Cup parties get pretty rowdy, and you know there are players only parties with that cup that don't get spoken of. But yeah, apparently this thing's been tossed around, kicked around throughout its lifetime. That it's amazing that they maintain to keep it looking the way it does.
Yeah, here I'm sending you a picture right now. If you can get that pulled up, just so. I mean, that's like the next day.
I remember that. That was bad. He's still drenched in champagne.
And it's just, yeah, you know, there's been some crazy stuff that's happened to it, but that's part of what makes it so cool, right? Is that this is the cup. Yeah, right there. So, I mean, like the Abe Kubel dent is nothing compared to that.
I just think the Abe Kubel dent was probably the fastest in Stanley Cup history. Didn't even leave the ice yet, and it already had a big fat dent in it.
I think, was it Phil Pritchard, the keeper of the cup? I think he even tweeted out, yes, I do believe this is a record for it being dented. I won't lie. I was nervous. From where we were in the building in Tampa, I saw the cable on the ice that Gabe Landeskog was skating.
He stepped right over
directly towards. And I was like, oh, man, this is going to be an infamous moment. Gabe Landeskog gets 7 seconds in the hole in the cup and trips over a cord. And, yeah, he saw it and stepped right over it.
That was my thought, too. I was like, wow, what grace.
Yeah. What can't this man do?
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, that's the show I had prepared for us today. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Took us a little bit over an hour, and we got some good conversation and good ideas floated back and forth, some things I hadn't thought about from you. Same. So I hope the listeners enjoyed it as much as we did. Dude,
always enjoyed talking to you. You and I spent a bunch of time together in Tampa, and we just kept saying, look, we're heading into the summer. We got to get on more shows together. So that's what we're doing. So we'll do it again. We've got, while it feels right around the corner, we also still have a lot of time until the season gets going. So we will be at this again, dude. Always appreciate you coming by. Thank you guys all so much for listening as well. As always, got to give a shout out to our man Yah here behind the proverbial glass, making sure you can see us, hear us, and make sure that you guys all get your comments up on the board and everything that we need to see and do. I think that's all we got. Are you good?
I'm good.
Cool. He's JJ Jerez. I'm Jesse Montano. This is the DNVR Avalanche podcast brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you guys all so much for listening. We'll see you on Monday.